If you really want to change your patients' lives and increase your revenue, you'll want to listen to what I'm about to say. It begins and ends with the psychology of patient trust. Today on Maximize Your Audiology Business, you're going to learn 3 impactful and actionable tips that you can quickly implement to establish trust and boost your revenue. I'm Courtney Smith. I'm the Senior Manager of Audiology and Education at Unitron. Listen up and let's get to it. Today, I'm excited to be here with Bill Chrisman, Senior Clinical Trainer here at Unitron. You might not recognize him without his Unitron blue beard. Bill, what's your first tip for establishing trust with patients?
One of the biggest things that I see where I see people making mistakes is they tend to focus on trying to talk about the features to their patients rather than about the benefit of it or the experience or because I think it's tough for a lot of clinicians. They're more comfortable with the technology and they think about the directional microphone does this, I get this amount of signal to noise ratio improvement. But what they fall off or what they fall short on is relating that then to the patient, like what is that going to help them with? So if they can talk more about how the newer technology is going to help them be better able to hear their family or loved ones when they go out for dinner, on a Friday night and things like that, that's going to be more meaningful for the patient to kind of understand what's the benefit of this going to be for them. And I think that's something I really see people struggle with. They get locked down into the technology and forget to kind of connect that dot over to what it's going to help the patient do better in their lives. Or
Okay, Bill, you just
of course.
perfectly set yourself up for tip number 2, which is social proof and storytelling.
Yeah, so this it does it ties really well because what's most important for people, like, people trust people, right? They don't trust product. They don't trust what they see on a website. They want to hear from other people. They want to hear other people's stories about their experiences with products. And that's not just hearing aids. That's you're buying a new car. It's restaurants. You go to a town that you've never been in and you're looking for where to go for dinner, right? Are you going to look at the websites? Nah, you might check at least the menu, but then you go look at the Yelp reviews. You want to see what other people had to say about the restaurant. And is that someplace that looks interesting and gets good reviews in that way? So it's people are really interested in is what do other people have to say about the product or the service?
And you connect that story to the product. Like, we'll never forget that French fry seasoning that I bought at the gas station barbecue
Oh my
restaurant.
God. Yeah, but
And
that was the barbecue place where that was Kansas City, right?
yes, Joe's
Joe,
maybe?
Joe, Joe's,
Joe.
yes, that seasoning. Holy cow.
We'll never forget it.
Right. And that's exactly it, right? It's that experience that we have and we're believers and we go out and tell people about it. And people are going to trust that kind of an opinion way more than what they read on a website. Draw this back for a second, back to, hearing care professionals and what they do in their practice. I think what it really comes down to is you want to make sure that you're using stories rather than data, and you want to be specific in the stories that you're using. Draw upon stories from your experiences with other patients. You can say, I just recently had a patient that I just fit with the new Moxie SRs, and they were kind of hesitant about it at first, but we sent them home with a pair of the Flex trials, and when they came back, they talked about they were really impressed that they went to watch their grandson play their little league softball game, and they could actually hear their grandson while he was out on the field. Those kinds of like specific examples are things that patients will relate better to than anything you're going to talk about how much does the directional microphone improve the signal to noise ratio.
Completely. Okay, guys. So to recap, we have our first tip, don't sell features, sell experiences. And our second tip we went over, social proof and storytelling. That all leads us to our third tip today, which is simplify options so patients feel guided and not overwhelmed.
The reality is that when people get too many choices, they can get paralyzed, right? There's the analysis paralysis, and they get lost in the mire of all of the details. And I think in our industry in particular, it's really easy to get lost in all of that detail. So it's very easy to slip into giving them too much information and making it more complicated than it needs to be. And so they're coming to you as that trusted expert. And if you're using features like the Log It All feature in our products, it gives you a lot of great information about what are the patient's listening lifestyles. But it's then on you to take that information and your understanding of what's important to them, and in the example of like being able to hear the baseball games or the grandkids at the family dinner, and being able to use that information that you have about them along with the data that you get about their listening environments and help narrow it down into two, that they're choosing between A or B, that it's not this whole menu of things in front of them, but you help narrow them down and give kind of your professional recommendation about, I think it's option A or option B because of this. And again, be specific with your example of why you think that's the best choice for them and relate it to stories from other experiences that you have with other patients.
Okay, friends. So remember the wise words of Bill. When you shift from selling features to creating experiences, you share real stories to show what's possible for your patients. And you guide patients with clear, simple options. You build trust that lasts. And trust is what turns conversations into commitments for your patients and the revenue of your office. If you want more tips on growing your revenue, be sure to hit subscribe. Unitron is here to help you offer strategies to create stronger connections with the people you serve. I'm Courtney Smith, and I'm just an email away. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.